Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. Under the blood moons, demonic figures were everywhere, their roars shaking the heavens. Shahao and the others fled to fallen Immortal Ridge. Behind them, many cultivators were wailing in anguish. They had been caught up to by the ghost demons. Heart-tearing lung-splitting howls rang through the air. They covered heaven and earth. More than 10,000 ghost demons chewed and devoured flesh. This type of scene was just too horrible to witness. The danger hadn't ended yet. There are still several thousand ghost demons chasing over. Even though they couldn't overtake Shahao's party, for those cultivators who were fleeing for their lives, they were fatal. Within this ancient land, creatures of all clans took action. Precious light surged into the heavens and symbols shot out, fighting until the forest collapsed and the great earth split apart. Dragon Girl, Shuyi, and the others were extremely fast, traveling together this entire time as they slaughtered their way out. They encountered several small groups of ghost demons that had emerged from who knew where, so they worked together to destroy them. Are we going to completely leave this place? Qin Hao said quietly. He hated this place, wishing to leave as soon as possible. They were already quite far from the vicious nest, now quite far from the most dangerous place. At the very least, they didn't have to worry about any strange formations activating and encounter danger because of it. In this region, human figures could rarely be seen. Aside from them, there were a few scattered individuals running for their lives in this mountain region. Suddenly, the melody stopped. After a momentary silence, a bugle horn that carried an ominous sound sounded, possessing a terrifying demonic nature. Qin Hao immediately staggered about, almost falling onto the ground. With a WA sound, he coughed out a mouthful of blood. One could clearly see that wave after waves of ripples were spreading over, tearing this region apart. All types of ancient trees shattered. The enormous mountain rocks broke apart inch by inch. Those ripples descended from the sky and covered the great earth. The mysterious individual appeared again, flying over beneath the blood moon, his battle clothes fluttering about. He put away the pure white bone flute, and then took out a blue simple and unadorned horn. It was unexpectedly the heaven-marked conch. This was a great killing weapon with tremendous strength. Even deities would explode after being swept through by its ripples. Fiend, you are a cruel and heartless devil. Someone cried out, only no reply was given. That mysterious figure in the void was otherworldly like an immortal, blowing the conch mercilessly. Apart from Shahao's group, this entire mountain region was a bloodbath. No creatures survived. At this moment, Dragon Girl held the ancient horn in hand, and after drawing a stroke through the air, a dazzling blade of light hacked out, cutting towards the mysterious individual in the sky. Let's rush up and kill him, Qin Hao said while clenching his fist. This person actually left the vicious nest and pursued them like this. How could this be tolerated? This might be the best opportunity. In fact, many of them wanted to slaughter their way over and kill this person. What kind of individuals were they? They traveled unhindered through the world, and individuals like Dragon Girl and Chang Gongyang had reigned supreme in more than one era, yet today, they were being pursued like this. Only, they restrained that urge. Shuyi's eyes flickered and said, this person chased over by himself, so he definitely has something to rely on, most likely having something troublesome up his sleeve. In that instant, Shahao's brows jumped. He felt something strange and said, not good, the bug horde is coming. He understood what was going on. This mysterious male blew the horn not only to massacre the masses, but also to summon the great bug clan armies, using them to kill their group of people. Dragon Girl, Shuyi and the others' expressions all changed. They heard the sound of wings flapping, a sound similar to metal plates grinding, making their teeth sore and their bodies break out in goosebumps. Soon after, the blood moons in the sky disappeared, replaced with dark clouds that swarmed over. What kind of bugs are these? Even the cool-headed Chang Gongyang's expression changed. He couldn't help but cry out. There were too many, densely packed and forming a large black expanse. Those individuals didn't even turn around, quickly running away from this place. Those bugs were too numerous, their sizes varying from a fingernail to a thumb in length. They covered the void as they swarmed over. Shahao produced the pill furnace, sending the heavenly river pouring outwards. Lightning radiance immediately flowed outwards endlessly, blasting countless black divine bugs from the sky. Qin Hao used the long life battle clothes to kill the bug horde as well. However, there were just too many of them, covering heaven and earth. Half of them were divine flame realm experts. This type of bug swarm, so many deities, who could stop them? Even if they had powerful ancient treasures on hand, they still couldn't prolong this battle, or else they would definitely exhaust all of their energy and die here. We are almost out of this region. As long as we can make it through, we can move through the void and the bug swarm wouldn't be able to catch up. We can even turn around to kill that mysterious individual. Shi said. His eyes flickered with radiance, the beams of light splitting apart the sky as he looked into the distance. He felt that as long as they could persevere a while longer, they would be able to escape and ultimately live. They were currently experiencing a life and death disaster. For people like them, it was something they rarely experienced. Woo-woo sounds rang continuously through the air. The heaven-marked conch was still sounding. That person was following just behind, using the Bug Clan army to chase after them, the king of bugs. Shahao gazed into the sky, seeing that there was a bug on the mysterious individual's shoulder. It was wrapped around by light and releasing ripples, ordering the bug swarm, Bug Emperor. He actually raised a Bug Emperor. Dragon Girl revealed a grave expression. This was extremely troublesome. If this person were to come out from isolation in the future, he might be able to summon other bug swarms. It still can't be considered a Bug Emperor, not evolving to that stage. However, it's not too far off. Chang Gongyang said. Shahao's mind moved. He felt the Emperor butterfly cocoon in his hair move a bit, flipping over as if it sensed something. This person isn't simple. He has immortal energy around him. I can't see through his body. Shi said. He was a dual pupil user, someone who could see through all, yet right now, he was experiencing issues. In addition, she was also looking for Shahao's 10,000 spirit diagram. That bone is quite special. Why aren't you using it? It can only be used passively for defense. Shahao laughed bitterly. Those individuals coughed out blood. They finally rushed out from this ancient place, rushing into the mist-covered ghost forest. The bug swarm stopped, not chasing them here. I will bid you all goodbye. After saying this gently, the long clothes fluttered about him, making him look like an immortal under the blood moons, exceptional and otherworldly. He turned around and left. By his lips was a spotlessly white bone flute. This time, the melody was incomparably gentle. He slowly departed under the moonlight. Those individuals became quiet as they looked at his retreating figure and the retreating bug swarm. Everyone else died. More than 100,000 creatures died in the vicious nest. How shocking was this? What was shocking was that bloody light continuously rose into the air, gathering towards that individual. There were symbols within the blood as well that shone with brilliant divine light. In the end, the symbols gathered around him, while the blood converged towards the vicious nest. Let's go. Let's stick his portrait in every city to see if we can obtain any clues. Using the blood of all creatures to irrigate the vicious nest and acquire natural luck, using their body's symbols for cultivation. Is this the reason for planning this over 6 or 7 eras? And now, its Dao fruit is complete. Chang Gongyang said softly. He stared at that figure that had become indistinct. One could vaguely see symbols appearing, surging along with blood in the mountain region, and swirling about that figure, shining with mysterious radiance under the moonlit night. They were like symbols cast from immortal gold as they gathered together, forming an undying ring, making that gradually fading figure appear incomparably outstanding. Shi was the first to leave. He didn't fight against Shahao, wishing to immediately enter isolation cultivation, because this place had left him shaken up internally, giving him many insights. The others moved for several hundreds of thousands of li, ultimately leaving Nest Realm. Older brother, I am leaving as well. Take care of yourself. Qin Hao also left. He was dealt quite the mental blow and needed to think hard about his Dao. This era is extremely brilliant, but it is going to be extremely cruel as well. There was someone who actually took this step, surpassing the past. The others won't want to lag behind and will instead fly like moths to a flame. Chang Gongyang sighed softly. Along the way, he moved together with Shahao and Dragon Girl, not leaving either. They all wished to enter a few enormous cities to obtain clues, find out who that mysterious person was. Indeed, even if one was an ancient king, cultivating and comprehending for several eras, it is still unlikely to take that step. It truly is too difficult, Dragon Girl sighed. It was because she was a contender for this path as well. Only by taking it would one truly understand how difficult it was. There was the danger of death at every corner. Originally, the number of ancient freaks was much greater than right now, but the reason why they were now so pitifully few now was because they all tried to take that step to surpass the ancients, but most of them unfortunately fell. Today, Shahao deeply understood the difference. He felt even more rushed, a greater desire to succeed. He was going to finish his own path to its completion. Now that he could sit together with two ancient freaks, he naturally had quite a few questions to inquire about. Ning Chuan, 10 Crown King, what kind of paths did they take? I do not know about Ning Chuan. That person is too mysterious. Once his true body emerges, it is unlikely for many people to be able to fight him in Immortal Ancient. Chang Gongyang spoke. This was a reminder, as he knew that Stone Clan's 3 brothers had killed one of Ning Chuan's spiritual bodies. The true body is far greater than a spiritual body, not something that can even be compared. Meanwhile, he will definitely cultivate immortal energy. It will swirl around his body, and at that time, there won't be many who can be treated by him as an opponent. Dragon Girl's expression became grave. 10 Crown King is someone who can be described with a single word, immeasurable. Chang Gongyang said. It was because no one knew where his limits laid. Dragon Girl said, it is rumored that he obtained a small tree that came from the last great era. He used it as his roots, establishing it as his foundation. That is why I reckon that he already knew he could take that step a long time ago. In the future, he could not be stopped or fought against, suspected to be an immortal Dao ancient tree. Chang Gongyang said, what? Shahao was extremely shocked. He even obtained this type of heaven-defying thing, moreover planting it in his body in this era, it was simply unimaginable. How shocking was this? When immortal energy and surpassing those of the ancient past was mentioned, they all had many questions, because they all wished to reach the end of their paths and advance, breaking through the cocoon and turn into butterflies, carrying out an ultimate evolution. Even though most of the ancient kings of this era will die, there are some who are destined to succeed. Dragon Girl said. This path was extremely difficult, with no hope in sight, like a road of death. This was common knowledge, something everyone knew about. However, if someone were to succeed, it would definitely be someone among the ancient freaks. They had accumulated knowledge for several eras, from the past until now, researching diligently the entire time. This type of accumulation was not something that could be surpassed with a single era. It needed to be stored up, refined over time. Shahao nodded. If these people had this as their target, then they were without a doubt at the forefront. Their chances of success were the greatest. Time was a type of furnace, a flame for refining true gold and eliminating impurities. Many freaks had already died, and those that remained were the most powerful. Finally came out. Lu Yi said. Shahao released Luo Dao and Lana Chen from the cauldron. Those individuals felt as if they had obtained a new lease on life. Even though they didn't encounter the latter dangers, they knew that it was definitely extremely dangerous. That vicious nest is too dangerous. I never expected that someone would have already gone inside and grasped some of the formations. Lana Chen sighed with regret. Shahao also released a sigh, but in the end, there was nothing he could do about it. This world did not lack natural luck, and there was no way all of it was obtained by a single person. He might not have obtained everything in the vicious nest, and we are all an immortal ancient. So there are still opportunities. Shahao said, I feel suffocated to death. It is good that we managed to get out. Lu Yi said. He felt like living was best. In reality, there was a group of people who felt even more dejected than him. In the outside world, the cultivators of all sects, including the great sect masters, felt helpless, because they couldn't see what happened in the vicious nest through the immortal Dao flower's petals, to the extent where that mysterious creature never even appeared. It was because immortal energy wrapped around that place, preventing them from seeing anything. They knew that a tragedy happened, but they still never saw that mysterious person in the end. This type of feeling was extremely terrible. Only when that individual's portrait appeared on every large city did they see his true appearance, but they could only frown. None of them recognized who that person was, feeling rather powerless, prepared for 6 or 7 eras and killed so many creatures. Through this forged his own path, only emerging in the vicious nest in this era. Why are they all saying that he succeeded? Someone's expression turned grave, feeling that a great storm was brewing in Immortal Ancient Cloud Realm, within an enormous city. Shahao and Lana Chen, Luo Dao, and Lu Yi separated. Before departing, he taught them a few transformation arts from the 72 transformations to change their appearances and use them for self-protection. He only had a single request, and that was to do what they could to find out which places in Immortal Ancient had divine medicines. In the future, he would use this information to take risks and pick them. They then separated. Shahao naturally wished to enter isolation and complete his own path, to establish a perfect foundation. Only then would he be able to overlook the crowd when the time came, should take another stroll through Radiant City. Immortal Ancient, Green Spirit Realm. Plants grew abundantly and medicinal herbs could be found everywhere. In the beginning, there were many cultivators here looking for holy medicines, but eventually the medicinal herbs were all picked. Now, few people appeared here, but Green Spirit City was still bustling and flourishing with activity. This place wasn't quite the same as other places. The city was extremely large, and the city walls towered over 100 li into the air. In the city, there were many small bluestone alleys that led into the woodlands. The scenery was extremely beautiful, a city of plants. Shahao nodded. This Green Spirit City was unordinary after all, with many ancient trees and beautiful mountains, all of which were surrounded by the city walls. Instead of calling it a city, it was better to call it a refined spiritual immortal dwelling. Of course, there were places that were bustling with action as well. People came and went along the streets, stores standing in great numbers. There were holy medicines for sale, as well as all types of rare treasures for exchange. Shahao walked through the street, made his way through the central area, and then followed a bluestone alley into a place with an extraordinary scenery. This was Peach Blossom Garden, a pure land opened within the city center. It was extremely elegant and extraordinary. Ancient peach trees towered all around them, stretching as far as the eye could see. In the peach tree forest, there was a small wine shop, a tea house, but also a massive restaurant. There was some distance between these places. These places were hidden under the peach blossoms. His expression immediately changed. These peach trees were all unordinary. They were spiritual peach trees, their pink flower petals sparkling and releasing a sweet scent that made one's mind relax. It was clear that there were fruits on top of the branches as well, creating a shocking sight. The peach blossoms and fruits coexisted in this wondrous scenery, their fragrance rich. This gave others a feeling of being withdrawn from worldly affairs, as if they arrived in the world beyond, arriving in the peach garden of the immortal world, another pot of wine. Someone shouted in the small wine shop ahead, drinking outdoors, between the peach trees, the fragrance assailing the nostrils. Shahao smelled a wine fragrance. That was definitely medicinal wine, the efficacy quite extraordinary. I'll take one as well. Shahao said. A green jade wine cup was filled with medicinal wine that reflected the color of the lake. It was extremely fragrant. He slowly drank it by himself. After experiencing such great dangers, relaxing in this type of place gave him a special feeling of enjoyment. The small wine shop only had 8 or 9 tables, all of them wiped down until they were shining. Every single table had 2 or 3 chairs. They looked simple and crude, but this was deliberately done. Did you all hear? Sinister things are brewing in Nest Realm. The 100,000 people who went there all died. This is truly a heaven-shocking tragedy. Rumor had it that a demon appeared from that nest who devours human blood, that he cannot be stopped. Inside of this small wine shop, there were people discussing this. This was clearly related to the portraits Dragon Girl posted. It had triggered quite the commotion. In the rear, a few people muttered, discussing quietly, "Dao brother, the people there are all quite strong, and exceptional talents are often seen. In addition, the prices there are extremely high." The wine shop's owner reminded, "Thanks, I understand." Shahao waved his hand without turning around. Within the depths of the peach garden, there was a bejeweled palace as expected. It was extremely grand, moreover more than a single one. Shahao chose the largest one that had faint mists circling about it. Sparkling multicolored light surged, and on a horizontal inscribed board were the words Arctadic Treasure House. This drew his attention, and that was why he walked towards this place. Large winds blew about. A black ancient coffin flew over from the sky, carried by many people. It looked extremely strange, passing right above Shahao's head, the distance from him quite close. This was quite rude and disrespectful. Great winds stirred about. Those people were less than a jong above Shahao's head, and if they were a bit closer, they would be stepping on his head. With a hong sound, they descended on the ground. The ancient coffin opened, and a pale-faced male walked towards the restaurant. Shahao didn't have the slightest good impression towards Underworld clan. He really wanted to slap them to death with a single palm, but after thinking for a bit, he still stopped himself, because he heard cries of alarm from those on the side. Second Underworld General. He is the second most powerful individual under Divine Dark Child, rumored to be an ancient divine corpse that gained intelligence in this era. He is impervious to sword or spear, precious artifacts unable to injure his body. He had killed more than a single exceptional talent. Underworld Earth had many strange corpses buried there, and following the opening of Immortal Ancient this time, all of the powerful supreme experts that were laying low were sent out. What are these dead idiots here for? Shahao was confused. He also entered the restaurant. This was a restaurant made from piles of jade. It was massive and tall, like a heavenly imperial watchtower. Rich spiritual essence wafted about within. Shahao continuously ascended a few floors, seeming to have sensed something. He arrived at the highest floor, and then he chose a table that was next to a window. He could admire the peach garden's beautiful scenery through this seat. This restaurant was unordinary after all. There were exceptional talents and the most powerful individuals of their province here. Not only were they drinking wine, they were also exchanging the information they needed. This place vaguely became a place for interaction, waiting for 6 to 7 eras. Who exactly is this person? Also, to take that step, he is too shocking. In the future, how many could even face him? This person really is quite something, killing over 100,000 creatures at once. Exactly how many did he kill then, if we include the past? On the side, the others were speechless as well. They couldn't help but look over. The waiter wiped at his sweat while saying, "Dao brother is joking. Those 8 delicacies, the so-called archaic arctadic treasures, because they are so rare, even higher realms sect masters can't eat 8 different delicacies in one visit. At the very least, that arctadic treasure unicorn alone is something that can be discovered but not sought. It is good if one is found after several thousands, or even several tens of thousands of years, not living up to the name. Isn't this place called the Arctadic Treasure House? Forget it, just bring however many treasures there is." Shahao waved his hand, appearing a bit impatient. There are currently 2 types, respectively the Arctadic Treasure Carp and Arctadic Treasure Phoenix. The waiter said. The full names of these 2 were Dragon Carp and Flying Phoenix. Both of them were extremely rare, especially the latter, which was comparable to half a stalk of holy medicine. It was priceless, not something normal people could enjoy. Not many people would squander holy medicines for the sake of their desire for good food. Fine then, hurry and bring it. Shahao urged. Then, his eyes shifted to a private room. Qingyi was right there. Even though her true appearance wasn't revealed, she was still an exceptional beauty. Her body was pure white like fade, around her body a ring of green light. It was as if she was surrounded by hazy green moonlight, untainted by the world of mortals. She was beautiful to the extreme. This type of aura, this type of style, it naturally drew many people's attention. From time to time, others would cast their eyes in that direction. However, no one dared approach, because there were a few others there whose origins were great. There was a blonde male with an unordinary aura. He had a smile as he chatted with Qingyi. Those at their sides were all powerful individuals with no lack of exceptional talents. They came from Immortal Palace. The blonde male in the lead was particularly attentive towards Qingyi. Even though there were many experts in Arctadic Treasure House, there was still no one who was willing to provoke them. You are saying that Immortal Palace's inheritor is going to release a bounty for Huang's capture? Qingyi asked with a smile. Correct, regardless of whether it is Huang, Shahao, or some inheritor of Supreme Being Dao right, it is all the same, unable to escape death. That blonde male smiled. Shahao narrowed his eyes, listening to this carefully. I recall that Immortal Palace's inheritor had previously lost to Huang though. Qingyi said with a faint smile. Correct. My clan's great one will personally take action to suppress Huang as a servant. Someone replied. Then hurry and bring out divine medicines, holy medicines to exchange for information. Also, please tell Immortal Palace's inheritor to come pay a visit. I know where Huang is. Shahao said. Everyone's eyes gazed over. This floor of the restaurant immediately became quiet. Talking to Immortal Palace in front of everyone's faces like this was an extremely courageous thing. After all, Huang's vicious name was too well known. Is what you say true? That blonde male asked, his eyes flickering with light. He wore a set of golden armor, making him look extremely divine and heroic. The multicolored lights around his entire body looked like scattering golden feathers, of course. Shahao nodded rather seriously. Right now, he wasn't using his true appearance, because he was aiming for the other party's reward without any integrity. All right, since you have clues, knowing where Huang is, then we can give you a precious artifact of shocking value. The blonde male smiled, unexpectedly about to get some information here. I only want holy medicines and divine medicines. Precious artifacts are useless for my current cultivation. Shahao was quite direct. You dare to speak so daringly, immediately demanding holy medicines and divine medicines. Do you treat these things like weeds? Another person with scattering red hair said coldly, what exactly is the reward you all are offering? Shahao feigned shock, saying, don't tell me that it is just a weapon made of some pieces of bones, and you're treating it like something expensive. The face of the other person fell, but soon after, he calmed down, his head of red hair fluttering about. There is naturally a generous reward, only, demanding divine medicines right from the get-go is too ridiculous. Friend, please tell us where Huang is. Immortal Palace will show gratitude. When he mentioned the name Immortal Palace, it was a reminder, as well as a warning and threat, implying that having good relations with this ancient inheritance might be the greatest benefit. Of course, different people interpreted different things differently, some unable to see any problems. I really felt quite expectant towards Immortal Palace, always wanted to know what kind of place it was exactly. Shahao smiled. In reality, he wanted to smash his way in to see what kind of place it was. He then continued, then so be it, since divine medicines are too much, then exchange with holy medicines, or half-divine medicines. I am an extremely straightforward person, and won't beat around the bush. Within the private room, Qingyi revealed a faint smile. It was truly hard to say good things about this person. Could it be that he really was going for the enemy's reward? If Immortal Palace's people knew this, they might vomit blood from anger. The red-haired male's face fell, feeling that this person was really too lacking, even daring to want Immortal Palace's stuff, moreover speaking out so boldly. Killing intent flashed through his eyes. Good, I like people who are direct. On the side, that blonde male smiled, not allowing that red-haired male to speak. He was the leader of this group. How many stalks of holy medicines do you want? He was allied with Immortal Palace, known as the Second Immortal General. 100 stalks of holy medicine, 10 stalks of half-divine medicine. Shahao said. The red-haired male secretly transmitted. Are we really going to give it to him? If that is the case, then we are better off directly capturing him. Exactly. Just capture and kill him. Precious medicines, my ass. Another individual said as well, we can give it to him first, but he won't be alive to keep it. The blonde male secretly spoke, his tone cold-hearted and callous. You all aren't agreeing first and are planning to kill me later, right? Shahao suddenly said, friend, you joke. How can Immortal Palace conduct ourselves like this? The blonde male smiled brilliantly. Shahao hesitated a bit, and then he pretensively said, then that is good. I was starting to regret standing out in the open like this. Fortunately, there are powerful exceptional talents here, and outstanding talents of their respective provinces, all of them able to serve as my witnesses. The Grand Arctadic Treasure House was silent, feeling that he was brave before, but now became fearful. However, who was willing to confront Immortal Palace for his sake? Dao brother, please relax. The blonde male smiled, then that is good. I want to see the precious medicines first. Shahao said, his attitude quite resolute. On Immortal Palace's side, several individuals frowned. This wasn't a small amount, shockingly precious holy ancient medicines. It was difficult to gather all at once, please wait for a bit. We will do our best to gather them. The blonde male said. He ordered people to head for several small worlds to examine their secret strongholds. It might still not be enough. The red-haired male shook his head. It was because recently, Immortal Palace's young Great One was attacking at the limit in isolation, using up large amounts of precious medicines. Even if there were exceptional talents overseeing the outside world, searching through the medicinal fields of every land, it still might not be enough. It was because powerful experts like the blonde male needed these things as well, or else how could he join Immortal Palace? It is a bit troublesome. The blonde male frowned. Suddenly, he raised his head to look towards the private room on the other side. There was someone who nodded towards him, an expert from Underworld Clan. We came on the Divine Child's orders. We heard that Immortal Palace offered a bounty for Huang, so we are willing to join. A pale-faced youth from Underworld Clan spoke. I send Dao brothers my greetings. The blonde male revealed a look of pleasant surprise. He never expected Underworld Clan to be so direct. Huang had killed my Underworld Clan's experts. Even though the Divine Child cannot come out from isolation, he ordered us to come here and ally with Immortal Palace, not wishing for that person to continue living. Underworld Clan's youngster said. The restaurant erupted with noise. They recognized this person, Underworld Clan's second war general. In the end, Immortal Palace, an Underworld Clan, produced 40 stalks of holy medicines and 8 stalks of half-divine medicines. All of the cultivators in Arctadic Treasure House couldn't help but suck in cold breaths of air. So many holy medicines, all of them swirling with brilliant colors and rich with medicinal fragrance, it immediately made this entire restaurant resplendent, becoming incomparably shocking. The jade case was transparent. Even though it was closed tightly, the holy light it released was still dazzling, and wisps of fragrance flowed outwards, making everyone's eyes red. Dao brother, if your information is wrong, all of these precious medicines would have been gathered for no reason. The golden-haired male said, I truly am too moved. Shahao used his hand to caress this jade case. The joy on his face was real, and that happy laughter was definitely not fake. Qingyi was speechless. This fella was too dishonest, truly a fraud. If those people knew that truth, they would definitely vomit blood and go unconscious. Immortal Palace, Underworld Earth truly are generous. I give you thanks from the bottom of my heart. Truly have no words to express my feelings, not knowing what to say. Shahao smiled like a flower. Right now, it was as brilliant could be. Everyone could feel his happiness, a joy from the depths of the heart. Only, this kind of expression disgusted Immortal Palace and Underworld Clan. Who was willing to bleed themselves like this? Thing that doesn't know the difference between life or death, will you have your life to keep it all? The red-haired male sneered inwardly, even daring to take Immortal Palace's things. If you took the initiative to speak, that is one thing, but now, you are just courting death. This was what the blonde male was saying inwardly. His eyes gaze was merciless, a cold smile hanging from the corners of his lips. Thank you, really, thank you so much. Shahao walked over, sending his greetings in a sickening fashion. In addition, he even grabbed one of Immortal Palace's female exceptional talents without letting go, wasting time and continuously thanking them. As for Underworld Clan, he ignored them, because he couldn't stand that deathly energy. The faces of Immortal Palace's people weren't pleasant. This fella was just too happy, right? His speech was even starting to become incoherent. As for that female exceptional talent, she felt incomparable disgust. She retracted her jade hand without batting an eyelid. If it wasn't for Immortal Palace needing the information he knew, she would have long released a slap. Seize your life when the time comes. The female exceptional talent sneered. Her face was smiling, but there was a hint of ridicule and contempt hidden within. Dao friend, you are losing your sense of measure from joy. The blonde male reminded, having him speak about Huang's whereabouts. The red-haired male even more so released a cold snort, faint killing intent pervading the air, almost unconcealable. In his eyes, Shahao was already a dead person. Underworld Clan's people carried smiles that were a bit cold and merciless. How could their precious medicines be that easily given out? I was too excited. Everyone, please forgive me. So many holy precious medicines, it truly makes me beyond happy. Hoa said, but he still didn't forget to share his happiness with others, wishing to waste more time. In the end, everyone truly couldn't take it any longer. This was just too much. Inside Arctadic Treasure House, many cultivators were speechless. This fella didn't understand the difference between life or death. One had to keep their life to enjoy anything. However, Shahao truly began to seize it, grabbing at the pile of precious medicine, collecting them stalk after stalk carefully as to not damage them. Dao brother, what is the meaning of this? The blonde male's face fell, because this fella didn't mention anything about Huang at all. Shahao already returned to his seat by the window, one hand hanging from the windowsill in a leisurely manner. At this moment, he loosened his palm. The divine striking stone silently fell into the peach blossom forest to follow that exceptional talent. A hint of a smile appeared at the corners of his lips, killing intent surging within his heart. Immortal Palace's inheritor unexpectedly offered a reward to kill him, moreover wanting to take him as a servant. He decided that they would take the initiative to attack. If the divine striking stone succeeded, he would directly slaughter his way over to Immortal Palace inheritor's place of isolation, cutting him down there and then. On the other side, the group of people's faces were dark. If this wasn't so important for them, they would have already captured and killed him. However, they saw that he could still be considered to be cooperating, not leaving, so they didn't take action. After a long wait, the Arctadic Treasure House's waiter finally delivered the Arctadic Treasure Carp, an Arctadic Treasure Phoenix, in 2 bone cauldrons. He carefully placed them on the table. Too slow, Xiahao complained. This is divine food, needing to be slowly cooked by Dao flames, so it naturally takes some time. The waiter explained. The 2 bone cauldrons looked simple and unadorned, but they were both magical artifacts. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to cook these 2 rare precious ingredients. When the lid of the cauldron was opened, a fragrant smell immediately pervaded the air, and strand after strand of divine splendor wafted outwards, leaving the surrounding people startled, revealing strange expressions. This was the fragrance of a top-grade treasure after all. Even deities would salivate when smelling this fragrance, wishing to stuff their mouths. That fragrance was too tempting, making one drool with desire. It is somewhat worth it. Xiahao sighed with amazement, revealing a sincere smile. He had eaten the Arctadic Treasure Carp in the lower realm before, so he went for the Arctadic Treasure Phoenix first. This was a type of ancient bird that wasn't that large, but its meat quality was wonderful. Even if it wasn't the best type of bird meat, it was close. In addition, it possessed shocking medicinal characteristics, comparable to being half a stalk of holy medicine. Dao friend, I must first ask you to pay the bill. The waiter said with a smile, here. Xiahao handed over a jade case with holy medicines sealed inside. On the other side, Underworld Clan and Immortal Palace's people's eyelids were jumping. These were their precious medicines. This fella's way of spending was too straightforward. Even the blonde male and Underworld Clan's second general didn't order Arctadic Treasure Phoenix and those dishes, yet this bastard actually dared to squander away their holy medicines here. The hearts of this group of people were not calm. The dead person in their eyes actually dared to do this, truly leaving them beyond furious. Dao friend, you haven't carried out your promise yet. Speaking about where Huang is, yet you used up a case of holy medicine already. If there is a problem, what will you bring out to pay? The blonde male asked coldly. Many people were stunned, especially Immortal Palace's second general and the red-haired male, looking stupefied. Their hearts were feeling an indescribable anger. 2 dishes. Fucking shit. That rascal used just 2 dishes to hook in the fairy they were admiring, making them so angry they almost slapped the table. The most hateful and irritating thing was that the rascal used their holy medicines to buy those 2 dishes, making them feel utterly terrible. The blonde male's face fell, almost erupting with fury. For someone with his identity to chat with a woman and earnestly speak about his good points, he felt like he was already humbling himself greatly. Normally, as Immortal Palace's second general, no matter where he went, he would be surrounded by people like stars around a moon. He felt extremely embarrassed today. As for the red-haired male, he wanted to immediately kill Xiahao. He felt like this bastard was doing this on purpose, squandering their holy medicines to purchase Arctadic treasures, and calling over the fairy from by their sides to anger them. It was shameful and hateful. The Arctadic Treasure Carp was like a carp dragon, a meter long and flowing with brilliant colors. It was glistening brightly within the cauldron and releasing a sweat fragrance. Second time, I'm eating this now. Xiahao felt a wave of admiration. He thought of his days in the lower realm, how full of energy he was, how he was always in high spirits as he advanced, sweeping through all enemies in his way. When he entered the higher realms, he was always held back, having to hide all types of things and even having to conceal his identity. When he entered Immortal Ancient, he was even turned into a wanted criminal with a bounty and claimed to be turned into a servant, becoming a target of capture. This was only one example. There was also Divine Dark Child, Ning Chuan, and others. This tiger doesn't display his might. So you think I'm some cat? From today forth, I will forge my own path and raise my glory. Xiahao said softly. Then, he sensed something, suddenly raising his head and saying, Aya, fairy, you are moving so quickly. Leave some Arctadic Treasure Phoenix for me. Xiahao released a strange cry and hurriedly moved his chopsticks to fight over the divine bird. This video will end here. Thank you for watching. A hint of a smile appeared at the corners of his lips, killing intent surging within his heart. Immortal Palace's inheritor unexpectedly offered a reward to kill him, moreover wanting to take him as a servant. He decided that they would take the initiative to attack. If the divine striking stone succeeded, he would directly slaughter his way over to Immortal Palace inheritor's place of isolation, cutting him down there and then. On the other side, the group of people's faces were dark. If this wasn't so important for them, they would have already captured and killed him. However, they saw that he could still be considered to be cooperating, not leaving, so they didn't take action. After a long wait, the Arctadic Treasure House's waiter finally delivered the Arctadic Treasure Carp, an Arctadic Treasure Phoenix, in 2 bone cauldrons. He carefully placed them on the table. Too slow, Shahao complained. This is divine food, needing to be slowly cooked by Dao flames, so it naturally takes some time. The waiter explained. The 2 bone cauldrons looked simple and unadorned, but they were both magical artifacts. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to cook these 2 rare precious ingredients. When the lid of the cauldron was opened, a fragrant smell immediately pervaded the air, and strand after strand of divine splendor wafted outwards, leaving the surrounding people startled, revealing strange expressions. This was the fragrance of a top-grade treasure after all. Even deities would salivate when smelling this fragrance, wishing to stuff their mouths. That fragrance was too tempting, making one drool with desire. It is somewhat worth it. Shahao sighed with amazement, revealing a sincere smile. He had eaten the Arctadic Treasure Carp in the lower realm before, so he went for the Arctadic Treasure Phoenix first. This was a type of ancient bird that wasn't that large, but its meat quality was wonderful. Even if it wasn't the best type of bird meat, it was close. In addition, it possessed shocking medicinal characteristics, comparable to being half a stalk of holy medicine. Dao friend, I must first ask you to pay the bill. The waiter said with a smile. Here. Shahao handed over a jade case with holy medicines sealed inside. On the other side, Underworld Clan and Immortal Palace's people's eyelids were jumping. These were their precious medicines. This fella's way of spending was too straightforward. Even the blonde male and Underworld Clan's second general didn't order Arctadic Treasure Phoenix and those dishes, yet this bastard actually dared to squander away their holy medicines here. The hearts of this group of people were not calm. The dead person in their eyes actually dared to do this, truly leaving them beyond furious. Dao friend, you haven't carried out your promise yet, speaking about where Huang is, yet you used up a case of holy medicine already. If there is a problem, what will you bring out to pay? The blonde male asked coldly. Many people were stunned, especially Immortal Palace's second general and the red-haired male, looking stupefied. Their hearts were feeling an indescribable anger. 2 dishes. Fucking shit. That rascal used just 2 dishes to hook in the fairy they were admiring, making them so angry they almost slapped the table. The most hateful and irritating thing was that the rascal used their holy medicines to buy those 2 dishes, making them feel utterly terrible. The blonde male's face fell, almost erupting with fury. For someone with his identity to chat with a woman and earnestly speak about his good points, he felt like he was already humbling himself greatly. Normally, as Immortal Palace's second general, no matter where he went, he would be surrounded by people like stars around a moon. He felt extremely embarrassed today. As for the red-haired male, he wanted to immediately kill Shahao. He felt like this bastard was doing this on purpose, squandering their holy medicines to purchase Arctadic treasures, and calling over the fairy from by their sides to anger them. It was shameful and hateful. The Arctadic Treasure Carp was like a carp dragon, a meter long and flowing with brilliant colors. It was glistening brightly within the cauldron and releasing a sweat fragrance. Second time, I'm eating this now. Shahao felt a wave of admiration. He thought of his days in the lower realm, how full of energy he was, how he was always in high spirits as he advanced, sweeping through all enemies in his way. When he entered the higher realms, he was always held back, having to hide all types of things and even having to conceal his identity. When he entered Immortal Ancient, he was even turned into a wanted criminal with a bounty and claimed to be turned into a servant, becoming a target of capture. This was only one example. There was also Divine Dark Child, Ning Chuan, and others. This tiger doesn't display his might. So you think I'm some cat? From today forth, I will forge my own path and raise my glory. Shahao said softly. Then, he sensed something, suddenly raising his head and saying, Aya, fairy, you are moving so quickly. Leave some Arctadic treasure phoenix for me. Shahao released a strange cry and hurriedly moved his chopsticks to fight over the divine bird. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.